We were talking about injuries, Teddy, in the NBA Finals. There's some injury questions here in the Stanley Cup Finals. Basically down to a best of three. Boston with the home game tonight. Game 5. Bruins favored -147 with a total of 5.5. Heavy juice to that under at 5.5. And if we take a look here, Zdeno Chara, questionable coming. There was some reports coming out that he was going to sit out the rest of the series. There was film that came out that he did take the ice and practice. But, you could skate with a broken jaw. Not to say that you could take a check with a moving defender coming after you. So we'll see what happens in that spot. But here's the interesting part, Teddy. We have a best of three. Obviously, Boston has home ice. Bruins favored by -147. But if we take a look at the series, the Blues are only +125 with the Bruins -150. So interesting finish here. And as we said, if a goalie can get hot, he can steal the series. Best of three right here, Teddy.
Yeah, and look, I mean, if St. Louis wins tonight, Boston's obviously in big trouble with the game going back to St. Louis for Game 6. So the pressure is on Boston tonight. And obviously when we talk about an impact injury in Chara, we don't know exactly what the situation is. But even if he plays, I'm not convinced he's going to be at or near 100%. This has been a weird series in the sense that the better teams won every game. That doesn't usually happen in hockey. There's a fair bit of randomness, but this hasn't been one of those series. The team that's dominated the forechecking and dominated the shots on goal has been able to win. St. Louis was able to do that in Game 4, and they're able to stay out of the penalty box, which is something that we talked about. First time in the series that they only had less than 4 power plays, and the first time they didn't take at least 2 penalties in the first period. Forward Jaden Schwartz. We learned our lessons enough time not to be giving them 4 or 5 power plays a game. That's just something we touched on. We did a good job of that throughout the playoffs. I think it's the first few games we got to lay away a little bit from that. It's something that you want to pay attention to. Worth noting, Blues on the road, 6-0 in the postseason when trailing or tied in a series. That's excluding Game 1s. That is something worth noting as they go back to Boston tonight with a little bit of momentum.
Teddy, burn the obituaries here. The Indians are trying for the sweep. Let's load up. Let's get those future tickets going. We're moving in the right direction. Well, still got to do it on the field here. Twins and the Indians. Indians, however, favored slightly here to -112, total of 8.5. 40-20 on the season for the Twins. The Indians 31-30. Barrios and Bauer. Good matchup today. Boy, it would. And look, sometimes you're still a long ways back when we take a look at what the Cleveland Indians have to make up. But it does start with a sweep. Maybe you can get some momentum. We'll see what happens here.
Sure. And again, it's the first week of June. So there's time for teams to make up ground if the Indians are capable of doing so. And certainly this has been as well as they played in any series this year, the first 2 games. Yesterday took advantage of a bullpen game and took advantage of the Twins bullpen on the other end and won that game 9-7. But it's worth noting how good Minnesota's been off a loss or a couple of losses. They haven't lost 3 games in a row all season. They haven't been swept anywhere all season. So if you're betting on the Indians today, you're betting on something that hasn't happened for Minnesota yet this year. And Rocco Baldelli doesn't seem too concerned. To this point in the year, I haven't seen our guys come back from any of these games, whether we win or lose, with any kind of a different energy or anything like that. So not all that worried about the start to the series. Bauer's 0-4 in his last 6 starts. He got bombed by the White Sox last Friday. He doesn't have a great track record against the Twins, although he did pitch well against them back in March in the season debut. But Barrios, man, he's shown vulnerability in recent games. 16 runs allowed his last 4 starts after allowing just 15 in his first 8 starts. But the Twins keep winning for him, 10-2 in his last 12. And I talked about how he's been hit harder in the last 4. Minnesota's still 3-1 in those ball games, despite the fact that Barrios hasn't been quite as sharp.
We'll see if we can get some hits tonight in Petco Park. He's got 2 pretty good lefties here on the mound between the Nationals and the Padres. Relative pick'em here. Padres favored -106, total of 7.5 showing up here at SBRodds.com. Tonight, it's going to take place on the West Coast, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. MLB Extra Innings live from Petco. Nationals are 28-33 on the season and 31-31 for those Padres. Corbin versus Lucchesi. 2 really good lefties, Teddy. Let's see if those – now, look, the Nationals' bats do tend to hit lefty pitchers. We'll see if it happens tonight. Walk-off, as we know, for the Nationals, now flying coast to coast. And the Padres, as we know, dropped 2 of 3 to the Philadelphia Phillies, looking to bounce back. Good one tonight to end the night, Teddy.
Yeah, I mean, the Padres fall back to 500 with the loss yesterday. Now a sub-500 team at home. And this National squad, they're hot. 9-2 of the last 11 ball games. We talked about Washington and all the injuries they suffered early. Well, their lineup's gotten much healthier in recent weeks, and it's really paid dividends. If you've been a National supporter, you've enjoyed the last couple of weeks. Of course, Lucchesi is bet on all the way. I mean, he's really good. His last 4 starts have been dynamite. Andy Green, quote, the difference with Joey, he had struggled in April. The difference with Joey in his recent starts has been strike one. He has good stuff. He has deception with his delivery. When he gets in the count, it plays. Recently, he's been more aggressive with his first pitch. Corbin, 2 starts ago, had a complete game shutout, his highest pitch count of the year. And then last start, he didn't make it out of the third. Gave up 11 hits and 8 runs. After the game, quote, I've been using the sinker more. I don't think we missed once in the middle of the plate. And we started getting more early outs. That was after his shutout. Last time out, not so many comments from Corbin, even though the Nats right now are a team I'm not looking to bet against.